We are live now. Yes, we are live now. I welcome Dan Taylor for this session where we are trying to do something which is also relevant for the non-coders. Trust me, there are people have really complained that I'm from a different background. I don't belong to the engineering. Or else in engineering, I don't belong to the same category of like the coders or something. But trust me, you need not have to know the entire knowledge of like code base and things like that. Some tweaks here and there, it starts working absolutely fine. And to be very frank, GPT-3 has also been adopted in Power Apps now. So you guys can go back and see how this Power Apps is potential for any of the problem statement. So now I'm with Dan Taylor, demystifying what we can do with Power Apps. So thank you so much, ma'am, for this amazing session and looking forward to doing more with you also.
All right, great. So just wanted to rectify real quick. So we're talking about Power Virtual Agents, not Power App. So I'm just going to go ahead and start sharing my screen here. Let's see. Okay, there we are. I'm just going to stop my cam here for a second because I always feel like it's a little distracting here. So today we're going to be talking about Power Virtual Agents, what it is, how we can use it. As was said earlier, right? This is really a low-code, no-code solution. You don't have to code to start using this, so we'll talk about that. But before we get going, let me just very briefly introduce myself. My name is Dian Taylor. I work as a pre-sales director for RSM here in the US. You can take a look at my blog at d365goddess.com. Follow me on Twitter at d365goddess. I also have a YouTube link on here as well. I try to add content at least once a week. And you see the QR code here on your screen. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, feel free to go ahead and scan that. I would be happy to connect with any of you guys. So what we're going to be talking about today is, right, like I said earlier, what exactly is Power Virtual Agent? How can you get started with it? And then we're going to dive into Power Virtual Agents and all of its components. We're going to talk about topics and trigger phrases. We're going to talk about the authoring canvas, entities, and of course, we're going to do lots and lots and lots of demos. So let me just go ahead and start by kind of saying, what is Power Virtual Agent, right? So a virtual agent is nothing more than a chatbot, and I assume that most of us know what a chatbot is, right? So Power Virtual Agents is Microsoft's answer to chatbots. Now, the difference is that Power Virtual Agent allows users to create these bots by using a simple and easy to use interface. And here's the best part of it, without the need of coding. So Power Virtual Agents was designed by Microsoft with really those three key personas in mind. So first of all, your customers, right? And customers could be internal as well. So think about your employees, right? Maybe you want to create an HR bot so people can find information or answer or ask, I should say, human resources type of questions, right? How much paid time off do I get? What are the rules for this? What are the rules for that? So that's a really good example of an internal question. And then we also have, obviously, our external customers, right? Those can be people that purchase your products. They have a question, they have an issue, so they can go to the website and then communicate with your bot. And then we have number two, which are the subject matter experts, right? So this is where we're enabling these folks to build out topics with a zero amount of code. So think about what I said earlier. If you have your internal customer, excuse me, your employee that is going to your bot to ask questions about, human resources, you can have a human resources manager, right, create those conversation paths, create those bots and those topics. And then lastly, we do have IT admin and development as well. And that's really just in case if we do want to add some code to the bot. So we have the ability to do it, right? If we want to do some very complicated stuff, but we don't have to do it. So we can create our bots and everything related to that without any code. Now, as you probably already know, right, by the name of it, Power Virtual Agents is actually part of the Power Platform. It's built on top of the data connectors, the portals. It used to be CDS, right? It's now called Dataverse. And then obviously also the AI builder capabilities as well. So I just wanted to show you this slide so you can kind of see where Power Virtual Agent fits inside of the Power Platform. Now, this is just, I'm showing you a couple of highlights of Power Virtual Agents. I'm actually going to go into details a little bit later as well, but I think the most important thing is that it actually has this very, very simple graphical interface that you can use to start creating your bots and their conversation paths. You should really, after this session, you should be able to start creating your bots and those conversations for your users as well. But some of the things that we can do, right? I already said it. We have this very simple graphical interface that we can use that you see on the screen, the screenshot. And then what we can do is we can actually capture the user responses. So if the bot asks something and they give an answer, we can extract data from that answer. And then we can obviously, right, remember some of those user responses as well. And then we can save them for later. So I'll show you that in a lot more detail. Like I said, these are just some highlights that I wanted to put on the screen. So let's talk about how you can get started. And I would definitely recommend doing this so you can kind of play around with it a little bit. So you can get a trial over here, powervirtualagents.microsoft.com. And you got to keep in mind that you have to use a work email address for this. So you can't use your personal email address like your Hotmail or your Gmail or anything like that. So keep that definitely in mind. And then when you first sign in and create a new bot, there's going to be a default environment that's going to be created, right? And that's where the bot's going to be living. But if you want to create additional environments, you can do that. And if you guys are familiar with the Power Platform, there is an admin center that's going to allow you to create additional environments. So then, right, you create your first bot. You can see here on the slide, you just put in a name. You can now also select a language for that, right? So there's more languages available besides English. And then you can select that environment as well. And then you just hit create. And then you're going to see this screen. And then you just got to wait until you come to a page where it says, oh, the bot's created. Now you can start exploring Power Virtual Agents. So that's this screen that you'll see there. Then it's going to take you to the main page. So you can see that right over here. And obviously, Power Virtual Agents are made up of several components, right? So what I want to do is kind of look at each individual component and kind of show you how it is used in the application. So again, right, by the end of this session, you should be able to start creating your own bots and using all of those components. So let's start with topics, right? What is a topic? Well, they are, think of them as conversation paths that allows users to have a conversation that feels natural and that flows appropriately. So you can configure these topics using that authoring canvas that I talked about earlier so that you can ask questions, you can configure responses, etc. So each of those topics could have several trigger phrases. And I'll talk about the trigger phrase on the next slide, so I'll explain that in a second. You also have something that's called suggested topics. And with that, you have the ability to leverage existing web content to create a new topic. Now, keep in mind that the content on the website needs to be in the form of an FAQ page, right? Frequently asked questions, or it needs to be some sort of support site. So you're going to see a question, and then underneath you're going to see an answer. And those you can import into Power Virtual Agents. So once you do that, you're still going to have to go in there and kind of approve those imported topics. And you might obviously have to tweak right, that conversation path a little bit. Now, when a bot is created, the system actually also automatically creates a number of lesson topics. Now, these are just for the Power Virtual Agent admin to really kind of learn how to create content for their bots, right? So make sure that you're not using those in production, because again, they're really kind of used to give you some examples and kind of show you how some of that flow works. Now let's talk about trigger phrases, right? So each topic, right, and we now know what a topic is, each topic is going to have one or more trigger phrases. And these are, right, phrases or keywords or questions that a user is likely to ask regarding a specific issue. What happens then is the bot will then recognize that phrase or that keyword, and it will route the user to a topic, right, that will actually meet those phrases or those keywords. Now, a big part of conversations is around natural language understanding, which is the ability for AI to understand what the user's intent is, right? So, for example, somebody might, engage with the bot and then they type in, hey, I tried to use my gift card, but it didn't work. Now, the bot will still be able to route that person to the gift card topic, even if that exact phrase isn't listed as the trigger phrase, right? So it kind of learns as it goes, right? So you can see on the screen, it says, are you closed now, ? So maybe they're going to say something similar to that, but not that exact phrase, but the bot will then still be able to pick it up and route that particular person to the correct path, or I should say topic. Now, this is where we're going to write those topics, right? So this is also where these topic writers will spend most of their time. So we're going to configure questions here. We can configure possible answers here, but we can also configure actions here. So I'm going to get into detail a little bit later on what an action is. So the way it works is that admins can type in a question that the bot is going to ask, right? Whoever engages with the bot, then they can configure those response types, right? Maybe the question is, as you can see on the screen, which location are you interested in? And then I'm only showing 3 locations that they can pick from. And then depending on what they're choosing, right? That's what you see over here. This is my question. Which location are you interested in? I have these 3 options. If they pick Bellevue, they're going to get this particular message. If they pick Redmonds, they're going to see that message, right? So that's really what you can configure. But when you get an answer from somebody, that's called a response, we can actually capture those as well. And like I said earlier, we can also perform actions, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, let's go in a little bit more detail, right? Because you can see here, right, here's my question. Here is then my condition. If they respond to this, then go there. So let's take a look at that, right? This is where we're looking at a message, right? So the message window, this is what it looks like. We can do several things here, right? We have, as you can see, some formatting options in here, right? I can mark this as a URL. There's the ability here to do bullet points, put in a link, right? Italic, etc. So there are some basic formatting options. Now you can also add variables into that particular message, and a variable could be an answer from somebody. So maybe your question is, hello, what is your name? And then they type in their name, and that's a variable. So now I can use that variable to respond. So let's say somebody types in, my name is Anna, and then in the next message or in the question, you can say, hi, Anna, and then, right, go ahead and type in your question. And that's kind of what you see over here, right? This is a message window. And then after that message, I have several options that I can pick from. So after this message, I can ask a question, right? Or I can call an action. And actions is really allowing us to trigger logic from outside this, basically. So think about being able to use Power Automate, like, fire a Power Automate flow, or you can use a skill, which is a series of actions which you can build by using the bot framework. And this is when the code comes in, right? If you can't do it with Power Automate Flow, then maybe you will use some of those options in the bot framework. Showing a message, that's really just that. We're not capturing any responses from the users. We can go to another topic, right? That's number 5 here. Go to another topic. So I'm just redirecting the user to a different topic. Or we can end the conversation. And you can see here you have the ability to end a conversation with a survey, or we can transfer it to an agent. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm going to show you what the integration looks like with Dynamics 365 Omnichannel for customer service, where we can do that transfer to an agent. All right, so let's go ahead and start with my first demo here. I'm going to go over here to Power Virtual Agents. And so first, I kind of wanted to go ahead and show you what that chatbot could look like, right? So that conversation. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start my conversation with my bot. I'm going to say, I love Star Wars. Here we go. And I'm not sure if you guys can see this. Can I zoom in a little bit? It's probably better. Hello, my little Padawan. I hope all is well with you. How are you planning to use the Force? And as you can see, I get 2 different options here, right? So let's just go ahead and say we're going to go to the light side. And now it's telling me, okay, well, why do you want to join the light side? Well, maybe I want to meet Yoda because he seems pretty cool, or I want to become a Jedi. I'm going to say I want to meet Yoda because he seems really cool. And what's happening in the background right now is I'm using Power Automate to fetch this image, right, where I just see now an image, thank you, and then the bot said, he is pretty cool. He is a pretty cool little green dude. We had lunch yesterday. Now pick your weapon. So this is an example of me actually using a Power Automate flow to fetch an image and then put that into the chat. So now it's asking me to pick a weapon. I don't need a weapon. A blue white lightsaber, green lightsaber. Let's go with the polka dot lightsaber. Here we go. And great choice. So this is an example of where I'm actually entering data, or I'm selecting data in this particular case, right? And it's reading that back to me, right? The polka dot lightsaber is my favorite weapon. Now pick your partner. Let's go with Chewie. I'm going to pick Chewbacca. And now it's basically showing me everything that I selected. I want to join the light side, right? That's my first entry to meet Yoda. And then my partner requirements is Chewbacca. And then my weapon, again, here is that polka dot lightsaber. Did that answer your question? Yes, it did. And then we have the end of the conversation that we saw earlier. And then I can say, oh, this was good. This was excellent. Let's just go ahead. Oh, this was excellent. Can I help with anything else? Nope, this was all good. So this is a really good example of this. Now, let's take a look now in Power Virtual Agents, right? Let's take a look at how we did that. So I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. So let's go to the topics. Here I have a whole list of topics, and let's take a look at that Star Wars topics that I just walked through. So I can click on this, and the first thing you'll see is those trigger phrases, right? Star Wars, I want to join dark side, Jedi. Do you notice that I typed in, I love Star Wars, and it's still new to actually point it at this particular topic, right? Because one bot can have multiple topics, as you can see, right? It just needs to understand what the intent is of the person that's initiating that chat. And it understood that. It understood that I was talking about Star Wars, and therefore it launched this particular topic. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at that authoring canvas, right? We all know that it started, if I go back here, let's just go all the way back up here. Hello, my little Padawan. I hope all is well with you. So if I scroll to the side here, let me actually go ahead and do that. This was my trigger phrase, right? That's what the user typed in. And then this was the message. Hello, my little Padawan. I hope all is well with you. And then what you see over here is, right underneath here is that question. How are you planning to use the force? Well, I'm going to either go for the dark side or the light side. And what I'm doing here is the response. So whatever the user is selecting, I'm saving that response as a variable. And I actually renamed my variable because out of the box, they're just called like var1 and var2. But if you have a lot of responses, you're not going to remember which one was the answer, right? So that's why I'm kind of renaming my variables, right? So I call the answer to this force usage. And then we saw that I picked the light side, right? So it's saying here, if the answer to this question is equal to the light side, then ask this question. Why do you want to join the light side? Well, I either want to meet Yoda or I want to become a Jedi. And if they pick meet Yoda, you can see here, this is an action where I'm actually using Power Automate Flow to fetch me the image, right? And I'm storing that data from Power Automate. That's what you see over here, right? Power Automate output. I'm storing that over here, and then I'm plugging that into this message. So I'm using this variable from Power Automate, and then I'm plugging that into that message, and that's that image, right? And then you can see it wants me to pick a weapon. I actually picked, you can see here that basically what I'm doing is pick a weapon. If the person says, I don't need a weapon, well, then give them this message and then continue on. If somebody does pick a weapon, you can see here that my response is called light weapon. And I'm saying, great choice. And then whatever they picked, right? Light weapon. And then pick your partner. And I'm doing the same thing. So you can see that that's pretty easy to build, right? And I'm going to get into the details a little bit later on how to do some of these things. So now let's talk about, excuse me, let's go back here to topics and let's talk about some of the suggested topics. So what you can do, like I said earlier, you can actually go to a website that has, as you can see, these frequently asked questions, right? Where I have a question and then I have an answer to that question. So you can use Power Virtual Agent to actually import these questions and these answers. So if I go here to suggested topics, this is where I can put in my link and then I can say add. And as you can see here, it's then going to import those topics. So I'm going to go ahead and, oops, I've already included this website. So basically I'm going to get rid of this. I can click start here. Here is the website. I can click start. And now it's going to import those suggestions. So we'll come back to that once it's done with that. All right. Now let's continue on here with some more information. Hopefully that was helpful. Now, it's important to understand that the bot doesn't follow the dialogue scripts blindly. It actually uses all of the information that it has to decide when to ask a question and when to skip a question. So, for example, if the person that's engaging with your bot has already provided information earlier in the conversation, the bot will actually remember that, and then it will skip asking for that same information again. And that's kind of what you see on here as well. So by default, you'll see that the behavior is to skip the question, but if you want to ask it every time, then you can change that behavior as well. Now, obviously, for any bot to be actionable, it has to be smart, right? It has to understand what people are saying. Now, Power Virtual Agent comes with a set of pre-built entities which represent the most commonly used stereotype information in real-world dialogues. So think about, age, color, number, names, etc. So this helps the bot recognize the relevant information from a user input and even allows us to save it for future use. So think of entities as a way to tell your bot what to look for in unstructured data. So for example, when somebody enters, it costs $1,000 and they're using a money entity for this, then the bot will know that the $1,000 represents the money type of information. So when the bot extracts this entity and saves it to a variable, it will only save the number 1,000, even though the surrounding information was text. So that could be very helpful. And you can also see the same thing here with temperature, right? Maybe your question is like, what's the temperature outside? And then somebody says, it's 2 degrees here. Then the saved value for that user input will be the number 2. Now, you can also create your custom entities, which allows you to enter items and their synonyms in the entity list. So this is a little bit different than the entities that are already in there, right? The system entities. But so think about, let me give you an example. Maybe you're building a bot to handle lawn questions, right? You could have an entity that's called lawn concerns, which with values such as brown spots and lawn pests and fertilization, right? So if you're grouping these items in one list, it allows the bot to more easily understand the data that's being entered. Now, the smart match option is part of the intelligence that's supported by the bot's language understanding model. It provides the flexibility to let the bot take in the user output in a fuzzy way based on the list items that are given to that entity. So when the toggle is on, it lets the bot recognize items in the list, even if the customer misspells a word or when they use a similar word. So think about, you might have a word in there that's job, but somebody types in career, and it might, it's going to be able to recognize that. But on top of that, we also have synonyms, which allows us to manually expand that matching logic. And Smart Match and those synonyms obviously seamlessly work together to make your bot even smarter. All right, let's do another demo. You also saw earlier that, I'm not sure if you noticed that, but that I actually have an entity for the Star Wars demo that I showed you earlier, right? So let's take a look at those entities that I was talking about. So this one is really, really important, right? Email. So if you're using this entity, because basically what you're doing is that you're answering or you're creating a question, and then you can select an entity. And what that means is you're telling the bot that the response to this question is related to that entity. So if I'm picking this entity, I'm telling the bot that, hey, if somebody answers this question, you should be looking for an email address. Right? You see something like a color here as well. Hey, if I'm asking this question and I'm picking that color entity, then I'm looking for colors specifically. Again, those are the pre-built entities. Now, if you have a custom entity, that's a little bit different. Like I said earlier, that's just a list of records that could be related to each other, right? So this is my Star Wars entity that I used for the Star Wars demo that I just did, right? That topic. So you can see here, I have dark side, light side, red lightsaber, etc. Anything related to Star Wars. And what I said earlier is, let's say somebody responds Han Solo, but maybe they type his name incorrectly. Maybe they call him Ham Solo. It will recognize that. That's that fuzzy input that I was talking about, right? So you got to make sure that you actually have that smart matching option on. Now, let's go back here. And I'm going to go ahead and open a different topic, because I showed you that you can take a look at the actual topic itself and the trigger phrases, right, by clicking on it. But you can also go directly to that authoring canvas from here as well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open this topic here. This is my lawn topic. I'm going to open that up here. Right, you can see here I have some questions and some logic. Now, you can test your bot in line with your topic. So let's just go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and start asking a question here. I'm going to go ahead and say, I have weeds in my garden. And I'm going to go ahead and ask that question. And look what it did. It skipped, right? It skipped this, sure, can I help you with your lawn concerns question, because I was actually asking something. I had the word weeds in there. And this is showing you when the system kind of sees that, right, oh, you're answering a question that I have later on, so I'm just going to skip that question. If you actually click on this, this kind of shows you what it's doing, right? I'm going to go back up here. This question, right? Sure, I can help you with your lawn concerns. What is the issue? The response to this question is called concern, right? So you can see here, because I said I have weeds in my garden, it says, oh, that concern question, oh, I found the issue, right? I found what that person picked. It's weeds. And therefore, it just takes me directly to this message, right? And then it's saying, hey, please provide me with your email address if you want more information. And as you can see here, we picked the email, here it is, the email, what's it called, entity, right? So this is where I'm telling the bot, hey, this is going to be an email type of response. So if I type in here, my email address is someone@email.com, and I'm going to send that. Look at that. It only stores the email address, not the surrounding text that I just typed in, because we told it to look for an email address, right? So that's kind of how that works. So let me just now go here to a new topic, and let's just put in something. I was going to say new topic. I have a problem with my laptop. Say PC, whatever, it should be fine. I'm going to go to the authoring canvas. And now we're going to build something from scratch. So I was going to save it first. Come on. Of course, when you're doing live demos, this always takes a little bit. And here we are. So as you can see, it starts just showing you the trigger phrases, and then it starts with a message. You don't have to start with a message. If you're saying, I don't want that, that's fine. You can just delete it. If you click on this plus icon, right, this is now where you can pick what you want to happen. I want to ask a question. I'm going to say, what is the brand you have? And then this is where I can pick one of those different entities, right? So let's just say I'm not going to use this because I'm just going to actually put some options in here. I'm going to have Dell. I'm going to do another option. Oh my God, Acer. I don't know. Acer, let's just do those two, right? And now you can see, right, save that response as, this is what I said, right, var. So I'm going to say PC, I'm going to say brands. I'm going to save this as brands. There we go. That's the brands, right? So if it's Dell, go here. If it's Acer, go here. And I'm going to say, I'm going to show a message. And I'm going to say, right, if they pick Acer, I'm going to say the brand, Acer, is a great brand. Here is the website. And I'm going to put in a link, www.acer.com, right? And we can do something here as well. Show a message. And this is Dell is amazing. Dell is amazing. And let's just go ahead. Website is here. Put in website, www.dell.com. Oops. There we go. And now let's ask for an email address. What is your email? And now I'm going to say to the bot, save this as an email, right? var email. So you can rename this email address. There you go. Now, if you want to ask the same question here, what I can do here is I can actually direct it to this question so I don't have to do the same questions. So I clicked on the plus button and then I just grab this little circle and I'm saying go here, right? Perfect. Okay, let's just go ahead now and end the conversation with a survey. Very simple. I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to test this. So this is how easy and how quick we can start. Sure, save copy. So you can see no need for code. I could just start writing the conversation and let's go ahead and let's test it. So PC problem, it might not because it's the first time I'm testing this. Okay, what's the brand you have? There we go. I have a Dell and it's saying Dell is amazing, right? It's following this, right? What is your email? Let's kind of see what they're doing here. My email is at hotmail.com. And here is my email address. Did it answer your question? Yes. And now we are at the end of the conversation. So that's how quickly you can start getting up and running with this. All right, let's talk about some of the other features. Now, you can also enable the bot to act on behalf of your customer by using some of these Power Automate flows, right, to perform actions on backend systems. So if you want to connect it to Dynamics 365, either from the ERP side or the CRM side, right, you can do that as well. We already talked about being able to skip questions if the information has already been given by the user. But I also wanted to mention real quick that you can also set up authentication, right? So that they can kind of log in through the bot and then you can give them access to some of those records. Then obviously there's a handoff. This is a transfer to an agent, right? So if for whatever reason the bot can't help this particular person or they don't know what they're talking about, we can hand it off to an agent as well. And the handoff to Dynamics 365 Omnichannel for customer service is literally just flipping a switch and turning it on. But there are some generic live chat providers as well. I have not worked with them, so I don't know how difficult that particular integration is. I just know with Omnichannel for customer service, it's actually pretty easy to do that. Now, the system also comes with a comprehensive set of analytics that allow us to kind of review some of those KPIs for the bots, right? And they're broken down into a number of pages. You can see here, there's multiple charts here. You can see here some summary information as well, right? How many session total, what is our engagement rate, what is our resolution rate or escalation rate, like all of that information is available, as you can see here, with Power Virtual Agents, which I think is great because it really allows us to kind of see maybe also where we need to, improve some of our bots, right? You can see on the bottom here some of those abandon rate drivers, right? You can see pay bill, cancel membership, those conversations were just abandoned. So maybe we need to go back in there and change them a little bit and update them a little bit. Again, it's kind of nice to be able to get those KPIs and perform on there. Okay, so like I said, lots of demos. So what I want to do in this particular one is I'm going to show you how this particular bot or this particular conversation path is actually going to query my database, and it's then going to go ahead and create data in Dynamics 365. So let's just go back here to my demo site. Let me just refresh this. I can just say start over. That should refresh that. Hello. Yeah, okay. So here we start over. So what can I help you with today? So I'm going to say load my demo scripts. There we go. This is a demo conversation. Do you want us to contact you later? I'm going to say yes. And my first name is Harrison. Sure. Harrison DeBoer. There we go. And my email address is harrisondebua@gmail.com. There we go. Someone will contact you within 2 business days. Thank you and have a good day. Did I answer your question? Sure, I did. Okay, so this particular one, let's go back over here to my topics. And let's close this one. And let me see, this is my demo, load my demo script. It's this particular guy. So let's take a look at what it did. Do you want us to contact you later? I said yes. I asked first name, last name, and email address. And then I went to Power Automate. So let's take a look at that. And this is a little bit of an older flow. So the input that you see here might be, yeah, this is a little bit, this is not what it looks like anymore. But basically, I'm getting the data from Power Virtual Agents. Then I'm listing the records, right? I'm looking for a lead where the email address is the same that the person typed in. And then if the email address, if I don't have a lead with that email address, it's actually going to create a new lead. If it does have that email address, so that means that there's already a lead in the system for this, then it's going to create a task. Wow. Okay. Now let's see if that actually happens. Let's hope it did. I have here my my advanced find that's looking for leads that were created today. Let's hope that worked. It should work. Come on. Come on now. I've never had an advanced find take this long. Okay, let's try this again, maybe because it was sitting here for a little bit. Or let me just navigate here to leads. Come on, the advanced find is still going. So let's go. Leads created today. Here we go. There it is, right? This was the one that was just created by that bot. And you'll see here that I have some automation here. So I'm going to delete this task that the system automatically created. Boom. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to run this again. I'm going to say start over. And what did I say? I said load my demo scripts. Do you want us to contact you? Yes. First name, Harrison. What was his last name? DeBoer. Okay. Email address. Let's use his email address. So now what it should do, it should find that lead, and then it should create that task. So let's go back to the lead. Let's refresh the timeline. And that's what it did, right? It now created a new task and associated it to that lead that we created previously. So you can see kind of how this is a very great tool, right? How we can incorporate some of those Power Automate flows inside of the Power Virtual Agents. All right, now let's go ahead and so we did this. Okay, so I'm going to go back here to my deck. And let's talk about some of the other things here. Now, once you have created your bot and you created your topics and you created your entities and everything, then you obviously need to go ahead and publish your topic or your bot, right? So you can actually put these bots on multiple platforms, or maybe I should call them channels. So think about a website, think about a mobile app, messaging platforms like Microsoft Teams and Facebook, right? So you can use all of those. Now, once you publish your bot, you can then connect it obviously to these additional channels that I just mentioned. Now, keep in mind that every time that any content in the bot is updated, then you need to publish it again, right? And what happens then is it's actually going to update the bot across all of the channels that you've connected your bot to. And obviously it depends on, right, how much you have configured in there, but usually that publishing doesn't take more than just a couple of minutes. Now, you guys saw that I used that demo website, right? So let me actually go back here if you're not sure what I'm talking about. This is that demo website. If you actually go here to Power Virtual Agents, let me go here back to home. Let me see. I keep forgetting where it is. It used to, I thought it was over here. This is, by the way, where you can publish your bot. And I think if you click here on publish, it used to be here, right? Try it out on the website, learn more. You can click over here to learn some more, by the way, as well. This is that demo website, right? This is that guy that I was just on. So make sure that you understand that that is not for production, right? That's really for you to kind of try it out, or you can share the link with people that are on your team or whoever wants to try out the bot. Now, you also see on the demo website that there is a welcome message on there as well, right? Let's go back here, right? Try out the new chatbot we made, and then you can have some of these starter phrases on there as well. So you can edit that. So if you want to change that, you can go ahead and make those changes, obviously, right, to whatever you want it to be. Now, you can also add your bot to a live website as an iframe. So that could be like, think about a customer-facing external website or an internal site, right? You can add it to SharePoint or Yammer. And if your organization is using Power App portals, you can add the bot there as well. Now, this is what I talked about earlier, right? Omnichannel for Customer Service, which is that paid add-on to Dynamics 365 Customer Service. With Power Virtual Agents, you can do this handoff from Power Virtual Agents to live human agents, right? Using Omnichannel for Dynamics 365 Customer Service. And it's kind of nice because when you hand off that conversation, you shared a full history of the conversation that they had with the bot. So this allows us to route incoming escalations to the right live agent queue, and then obviously enables live agents to also review some of that context that they had prior to that being assigned to them, right? So I'm going to show you that. Let me actually show you that now. Why not? Let's just go ahead and I need to log in here to Omnichannel. Let me see here, Omnichannel for Customer Service. So I have them actually hooked up. So I'm just going to wait here for a second while this thing loads, but let me show you that. So if you click on here, this is where you can set this up, transfer to agents. Let me just go ahead. And then you just have to put in your URL and some credentials. And this is what you'll see right now. Your bot has been successfully connected to Omnichannel. And then you need to go to Omnichannel to do some setup there as well. So let me go ahead and close it. Let me see if we're ready here. Yes, we are. So let's start with that conversation. Oops, I'm going to minimize this. I didn't mean to do this. I actually have my chatbot, as you can see here, on my website. So I'm going to go ahead and start my chat. And as you can see here, there are some questions before I can start the chat. That's actually functionality of Omnichannel for Customer Service, right? Where you can say, hey, there's some data I want to capture prior to the actual start of the chat. So you can see here, this is a required field. So I'm just going to put in my email address. Oops, I'm not going to put in my name or a case or anything like that. And I'll show you in a second why that is. Let me actually see if I can like minimize this a little bit. Come on. Yeah, it's not going to allow me to do that. Okay. Because then that slide's going to be in the way. So I'm going to say this is my email address. I'm going to submit this. And I have an Omnichannel conversation. Let's just start until it, hello, I'm a virtual agent. I can help with account questions. Well, this is my Omnichannel demo. So I'm going to type in Omni. This is the Omni demo conversation. Do you want us to contact you? Not this time, already showed that. What is your issue related to? Let's say accounts. And then it's going to ask me, can I transfer you to a human agent? And I'm going to say yes. Let's go ahead and do that. And if I go back now to Omnichannel, you should see here, there we go. This is that handoff, right? Now the bot is basically forwarding it to a queue where I have several agents that are basically allowing, or I should say there's several agents that I can assign this chat request to. I'm going to say accept. There we go. And this is kind of nice because you guys saw earlier that I didn't enter my name. I just entered my email address, right, when I had to answer those questions. So again, this is part of Omnichannel. What it does is it looks at the email address and then it finds that customer and then it kind of shows you anything related to this customer, right? So I can see it's Angel, I can see the company he works for, I can see all of the conversations, or I should say all of the information on the timeline, interactions. I can see any cases, I can see any orders that I had here, etc. And then this is that conversation, right, that I had. So I can now start to engage with this person. We have some quick replies here. I can say, hey, you're chatting with me. How may I help you, right? And oops, I need to go back here, right? And hello, you're chatting with me. How may I help you? So that was that handoff, right? You can see that it was very, very seamless. The nice thing with Omnichannel is that you can do a lot of things there. You can do some logic with the routing as well. This is obviously not a demo for Omnichannel, so I'm not going to get into a lot more details, but I did want to show you guys this. And then when we're done here, I can say, hey, do you maybe want to answer some questions? Let's just go ahead and say, hey, we really value your feedback. Are you able to answer a few questions at the end of this chat? And then if that person says yes, I can even throw in, oops, I keep hitting the wrong one. I can even embed one of those surveys in here, right? Again, the customer voice, I believe, is what they're called. So you can do stuff like that as well. But we're getting kind of off topic here. So let's go back to the slides. I have 8 minutes left. So some of the other things that I wanted to cover here is, so you could have a conversation and maybe that a Power Virtual Agent bot does not trigger the appropriate topic, or maybe they cannot determine what the intent is. So they're going to ask the user the same question again. So after 2 of those prompts, the bot actually escalates it to a live agent by using the escalate topic. Now, in some scenarios, maybe you want to configure a different way of how the bot behaves when the user input doesn't trigger any of those topics, right? So for those cases, what you can do is you can actually configure a fallback topic, and that's what you see over here, system fallback, right? So if I click on here, so that's basically, right, if the bot doesn't know, let me go back here, the bot doesn't know and you want to have a different kind of scenario, you can go and configure that system fallback topic. So this is where you go. You can see here that I already have it here, and you can go to this fallback topic, and then you can just edit this, right? So here it says, this is an unrecognized trigger. So if they are trying to say something that the bot doesn't understand, maybe I don't have that in there as my trigger phrase, then it's going to allow you to escalate, right, to redirect to an agent. So that's kind of what that is. Now, I kind of wanted to show you, like, once you start building some of these topics, you can share that information out, right, with other users so they can start reviewing maybe your topics or adding to your topics, right? So keep in mind that you can only share that with users who have Power Platform licenses. Users who don't have a license can obviously sign up for a free trial so that they can edit the bot as well. Now, everybody that you share the bot with can obviously view or edit, view. This is kind of should be view. I don't know what this kind of mistyped. I apologize. Edit, configure, share, and they can publish, and they cannot delete the bot. So that's good to know, right? Because you probably don't want people to delete your bot. So now let me again kind of show you. Let's go back here. We kind of started talking about some of this stuff, right? When you are done with adding topics, changing topics, building some of those entity tables, you need to publish, right? And this is where you can go ahead and do that. You click here on publish, and then that's going to publish that content. And then if you want to go configure channels, if you click here and go to channels, this is where you can configure some of that stuff. So when I put this on my custom website, I just went over here and look at that. I can get that embed code, right? I can copy that from here. You can even get a single sign-on, as you can see here, as well, right? So you have the ability to get some of that information. If I click here on Facebook, I'm going to get some information as well, right? It shows you here exactly how to do the setup for this as well. Then you put in your app ID and the password, page IDs, and that's how you hook up that bot on Facebook. So lots of options there to actually pick from. And then I wanted to go back here, to my suggested topics that I showed you earlier, right, from that website. So this is kind of what they look like, right? And what I can do from here is now I can say, actually add this to my topics, or I can delete them. I can also go in here, right, kind of take a look at this, right? How is this looking? I can add it to a topic, and then I can start editing it. So that's kind of what that suggested topic looks like. All right, let's go back here to the screen here. That was all that I had for you guys. I'm going to see if we have any questions here in the chat. Let me just pull that up here.
Sure.
I don't see any questions. Do you see any, Vishwash?
No, ma'am, there's no questions here. I think you can turn on your camera now.
Oh, that's right.
Guys, do ask some questions, because I know it's a part of an NLP, but not an NLP. It's like, you know how to code, you don't know how to code, but you're in the middle of it. But trust me, it was amazing, because I really enjoyed, because I was working on Power Apps, but the Power Apps started asking me the institutional mail, like I should be a part of some organization. Is there any problems like that? Like, Power Apps require that email address to be verified from an institution or else a company. Is there a problem of that here? Like, can we just go on and just have that Power Virtual Agents from a free tier or from the pay-as-you-go model?
Well, are you talking about embedding it there, or are you talking about getting data using Power Automate? Because the way so the way I have it set up, with the Power Automate triggers, they don't have to be, they do have to be in the same tenant, right? But they don't have to be in the same org. So I have one org for my Power Virtual Agents, and then I have another org where I have Dynamics 365 CE, so sales, customer service, all of that. And then I'm using Power Automate to kind of connect both of them, right? To basically go fetch data from Dynamics 365 and then bring that data back. That's what you saw earlier when I had Power Virtual Agent create a lead. So it's different databases, right? But different orgs, or whatever you want to call it, but it's the same tenant. So they have to be in the same tenant. Yeah.
Sure. Guys,
sure
okay, it was a great session. Really enjoyed it. Ashmitten. Yeah, it was great, man. Yeah, everybody's saying it's good session. Yeah, fine. But ask some questions, right? Come on, guys. You need to ask some questions. And don't worry, she's also an MVP for the business application. So you can really get to know the amount of work she has put in to understand everything. This demo doesn't happen just like that, folks. It's the work of year-long work. Yeah, it happens. Ma'am, I had some doubts. Like, I need to ask you this. Like, can we render the same API? Like I can just take the token or else the subscription or the key from the Power Apps, and can I embed it,
Well,
on
remember,
any of the application?
I'm not a developer, so I can't answer that. Like I said, what I feel is a nice thing about this is that you don't need to know anything about APIs, or because usually when people are asking me, I know what an API is, but that's about it, right? But I think it's great because anything you can do, almost anything you can do in Power Automate, you can utilize here with Power Virtual Agents, right? Which is so cool, I think. I would definitely, like I said, I actually wrote articles about this. I did videos on this. So you can always kind of, visit my website and kind of read back up on it. I know it's a lot of information as well. So, but yeah, definitely, like I said, you guys can reach out to me. If you guys want to send me a message on Twitter, if you come up with questions later, feel free to do that as well. But yeah, this tool can get anybody up and running in like 5 minutes, right? Which is great.
Yeah, no. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this amazing session. I think, guys, we are ending the broadcast. If you have any doubts, any queries, do reach out to us. And also, trust me, we are also a community which is in 100 different cities. And also, we are targeting all different cities from the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 cities. So, trust me, you need to learn a lot. You need to make sure that you need to learn something big. Then join our community. We are ready to teach you up. And also, we are coming out with a new initiative called as Community Hustler, where we actually support you to write your article, guide you. Don't support you like we don't write the article and give you. We actually guide you for writing the article, writing the research paper. I myself have 4 research papers right now, and we will help you for the research papers and so on. So people do join our community and be empowered people. Thank you so much for this amazing section, ma'am. Looking forward to some more sessions from you. Thank you so much, ma'am. I'll end
My,
the broadcast.
have a great evening, everybody. Bye.
Have a great bye.